Hello and happy Thursday. Welcome to our math class today. Apparently I am blending in with our green screen today. Thankfully I'm not using it to put a background on. Hopefully I'll get into that next week if we have to keep doing this. But welcome to our math class today. We've got three things that we need to have when we start math class, regardless of where you are, what room you are, or anywhere else you are. You, of course, there it goes. You, of course, will need your handy-dandy yellow daily math expectations sheet out so you can reference that at any point. It tells you what you need to do, what supplies you need, how you can get help, and make sure we are set up for success. The second thing you'll need is your math homework from last night. Please make sure you turn that in to the clear bucket with your class number on it in your host classroom's bucket. And the third thing we'll need, we started yesterday, we're going to pick right up with it today, is our Lesson 6 packet. If for some reason you don't have your Lesson 6 packet, please make sure you're taking the notes that we take together on a separate sheet of paper or in your notebook. There is a digital copy available of this in our Schoology page as well. But just want to touch on our agenda for today, then we'll kick it over to what we have going on. So make sure, as always, I do have to, before we talk about how you're following things in order, because we've got to start with the video, then do the other assignments in order. This is for my people who are trying to just watch this video. You must listen to the video. If you are just trying to read what is on the screen, you're going to miss a lot of important content. So you must listen to this to make sure we're getting this instruction. Because if you don't hear what we're talking about, discussing, even if it's a one-sided discussion while we're not rotating, you're going to miss a lot. So please, 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 please make sure you are listening to this as well. For those of you who already were listening to this, thank you so much. But anyway, here's our agenda for today. Of course, we're going to start with this lesson video. If you're here, you're already in the right place. Awesome. In this lesson video, we're going to do our check-in and review the agenda. That's what we're doing right now. Then we're going to do a sprint. It's going to be a 90-second time sprint. And then we're going to finish up Lesson 6 notes. Of course, this, as we started yesterday, was the order of operations. Today we're going to carry on into the order of operations. If you have not completed yesterday's video, if you did not watch yesterday's video, if you weren't here, please go back and watch that first and then come back and watch this video. I don't want you to jump in the middle of this lesson. Especially since they're all recorded. So if you were not here yesterday, go back into the Wednesday folder, complete Wednesday's assignments first, then come back into Thursday. Awesome. After this video, we are going to do our Lesson 6 problem set. Those are the practice problems attached to our packet. And then we're going to do Math Facts 4, this edition today. Please remember our math facts are timed. They are timed. That means you only have 5 minutes to complete them. It will automatically submit at the end of those 5 minutes. After our math facts, we're going to complete one iReady math lesson. That means our total for this week is 2 lessons completed. If you're not sure if you've completed 2 lessons or not, check in with me, send me a message in any way. Ask your host teacher. I'll show them how to check as well. If you completed a lesson yesterday, I put that on there by mistake, so you are ahead of the game doing today's. Awesome. And then 5th will be our homework. Your host teacher will give that to you at the end of the day, and we are going to take it home. And just one more thing. Remember, we will have a quiz tomorrow on exponents. Awesome. All right. Well, without further ado, I'm going to kick it over here, and we're going to get started with our sprint. So a multiple, thinking back, a multiple is a number a product of a number multiplied by another number in order. So our multiples of 5 would be 5, 10, because 5 times 1 is 5, 5 times 2 is 10, 5 times 3 is 15, 5 times 4 is 20. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, on and on and on forever. You're going to write down our multiples. You're going to list as many of the multiples of this number as you can. Please write them down on a piece of paper or in your notebook, and I will be coming around to check it. You are going to have a minute and a half. It's also, multiples are the same as counting by a certain number. So if we were counting by 5, it would be 1, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. But you're going to have 1.5 minutes to take on this sprint. I'm going to move myself out of the way here. But we're going to list as many multiples as we can of 3. Write them in order on a piece of paper or in your notebook, and this assignment will be checked by me. You have 90 seconds, 1.5 minutes, and go. So the first, they start 3, 6, 9, and then keep going, keep going. Y'all got this. See how high you can get. You are 1/3 of the way there. You have 1 minute remaining. I love seeing the different techniques we have to remember our multiples of 3. I see people using their fingers. That is totally okay. Just please keep your shoes on. Don't use your toes. Use your fingers. Keep it up. We got 30 more seconds, y'all. Five more seconds. See how many you can do. You got this. All right, and that is our time. Pencils down, pencils down. Awesome job. I can't wait to see how you did. I'll be coming around to check. So make sure you have that somewhere you can show it to me. Awesome. All right, at this point, please pull out your lesson 6 packet. And we're going to dive into example 3. I was talking with another teacher last night about things that we always say when we're teaching, whether it's in a video or in person. And I know 2 things I say a lot are, all right, so, and we're going to dive in, or now we're going to dive in. It's just what I say. I don't know what to say instead. If you have a suggestion, let me know. But we're going to take a look at example 3 here. It says, consider, so think about a family of 4 that goes to a soccer game. Tickets are $5 each. The mom also buys a soft drink, a soda, for $2. How would you write this expression? So I'm just going to start with a picture here. We've got 4 people. So we have 4 people, and each of them needs a ticket, and each ticket is $5. And then it also says in our problem that the mom buys a soda, a soft drink. So I'm going to have one little soda here. It's got a straw and everything. And that soda is $2. So we could totally have $5 plus $5 plus $5 plus $5 plus $2. And just a reminder, if we are doing something in our notebook, make sure you are, or in our notes, please make sure you are doing it as well. That way you have it to reflect back on when you're doing your independent or partner practice as well as your homeworks. Now we know we could just add these repeatedly. I'm going to slide myself over, shrink myself down a little bit. We could add these repeatedly, but that sounds like a lot of work. We know that there's something when we're adding the same time again, the same number again, when we have that repeated addition, we could do something else. What could we do? That's right. We could multiply. So multiplication is repeated addition. So we could turn all of these 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5s into 4 times 5. And then we just keep this plus $2 the same. Now when we are solving this, we know we've got to multiply our 4 times 5 first. And 4 times 5 is 20. We are going to rewrite the rest of our equation, plus 2. Then we have 20 plus 2, and 20 plus 2 is 22. So when it asks us, the question ultimately is, and this is what you'd see in the real world, if you were going to a soccer game or like a basketball game here at Goodlettsville Middle, you'd have tickets, and then you could also, hopefully, COVID willing, have some concessions as well. So how much will this outing cost? How much will this trip to the soccer game cost? It will cost $22. The soccer game will cost $22. And we're going to draw a model of this. So we have, sorry, my tickets were purple. Each of these is representing one of the tickets. Sorry, the cost of one of the tickets. And there were 4 people. So each of these has 5 boxes. And then there's just 1 soda. Only the mom got the soda. So we could actually count up all of these boxes, and hopefully we'd get to 22. Because there are $5 tickets, 4 $5 tickets, and then 1 $2 soda. So I'm going to challenge you to count those boxes and see if we really did end up with 22. I'll pause here for just a moment so you can finish drawing that and counting. $22. Awesome. So now it's time for us to move on to this next question, and it says consider a different scenario. So consider something else going on here. The same family goes to the game as before, so that means there are 4 people going to the game. But each of the family members wants a drink this time. How would you write this expression? So I'm going to draw our 4 people again. I am going to leave a little bit of extra space. Oh, that's a really terrible art. You know, this is why I teach the math and not the art. I am going to leave a little extra space between the people because we're going to have to put a drink in there. And this time we are going to see a symbol in here. Because remember, when we are doing solving equations, solving expressions, we follow a prescribed order of things, of the way that we solve our operations. We remember multiplication and division are stronger than addition and subtraction. And then exponents are stronger than multiplication and division. So we do exponents, then multiplication, division, then addition and subtraction. But there's one last thing we haven't yet talked about. Oops, that's supposed to be a soda. Because each person is now getting a soda, so I'm going to draw 4 sodas here. So, for this one, we're going to have the same numbers. There are still 4 people. When we are writing this expression, and remember it's an expression because there's no equal sign yet, there are 4 people. And each of them still needs to buy a $5 ticket. But this time, each of them also wants to buy a soda. So there are going to be 4 tickets and 4 sodas. Can we group those 4 together? Now that every person has a soda, we can find the total cost of each person. So want you to think about that. How much does each person have to pay? They have a ticket and a soda. $5 ticket, $2 soda. Absolutely, it is $7. So $5 for a ticket, $2 for the soda is $7 altogether. And then there's 4 of those. So $7, $7, $7, $7. So for this one, this problem here, when we are grouping our 5 and our 2 together first, we have to put parentheses. And we remember parentheses are those curved, look like a C and a backwards C. But that ultimately tells us over everything. So we have addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, exponents, and then we have parentheses and brackets and other symbols. But parentheses come first because they are the most important. They tell us, it's a clue saying, hey, do this first. So why do we group this first? Why would we add the 5 and the 2 first? Well, first we need to figure out how much each person spends. Each person spends $7, and then we multiply that by 4 to find the total cost. So we will write this down. We need to determine, and that just means find. Remember, we like to put our synonyms, word that means the same, in parentheses. That way it helps us remember these other words, just in case you don't remember what those are or don't know what they are. We need to determine or find how much each person spends. How much does each person spend? Each person spends $7. Oops. Each person spends $7. Semicolon, because we are super cool. That is a dot with a comma underneath. Looks like a colon. That's a 2 dots. There's a dot with a comma underneath. Then we multiply by 4 people. To find the total cost. I know that's a lot right there. I will pause for us to get that written down. We need to find how much each person spends. We know that each person spends $7, $5 ticket plus $2 soda. Then we multiply that $7 times the 4 people. Awesome. So we're going to also draw a model for this. Just like we drew up here, we're going to draw the same sort of model with boxes down here. We have the tickets. Each one still costs $5. We still have 5 of those. Sorry, 4 tickets. They're $5 each. But this time, and I'll slide that up there, we also have 4 sodas because each person is getting a soda. In this problem, each box represents $1. So we can count that up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. I might sneeze. We'll see. Excuse me. A little hand sanitizer here. So we know there are 28 boxes, so we can check our work and say, are there 28? Is our answer 28 to match our 28 boxes? So we want to solve this here. How much does this group outing cost? We're going to take our 4 times 5 plus 2, where the 5 plus 2 is in parentheses. We'll write that down here. I know we already know the answer. We already counted our boxes, but we're going to solve this like we didn't. So we have 4 times 5 plus 2, and our 5 plus 2 is in parentheses. So we've got to solve our 5 plus 2 first. And 5 plus 2 is 7. Now that there's nothing else in our parentheses can disappear. We have solved everything in our parentheses. Then we do 4 times 7, and 4 times 7 is indeed 28. And our 28 matches this, which is awesome. So our sentence says, the soccer game would, and we're going to add the word now in because we are super fancy. We're differentiating this between the scenario that happened before. The soccer game would now cost $28. $28. That's a different price because before we only had 1 soda. Now we have 4 sodas. And the last thing we'll do is ask how many groups are there. We can identify this in 2 ways. You can see that there are 4 groups because there is the 4 as the beginning of our multiplication. We're multiplying the 4 groups times the cost of each group. Or in our picture, our diagram, there are 4 groups as well. 4 sets of tickets and soda, tickets and soda, tickets and soda, tickets and soda. So, how many groups are there? There are 4 groups. And what does each group comprise? We're jumping over. Each group comprises of our ticket price plus our soda price, which equals $7. So sorry, our ticket price plus our soda price equals $7 in each group. So our last complication, the last thing that can get tricky, can happen if 2 or more sets of parentheses are ever needed. If that happens, we're going to do what's on the inside first and then work our way out. You'll see that in exercise 7. But right now, I want you to pause the video here, take 5 minutes, 6 if you absolutely need it, but 5 minutes if you can, and solve exercises 6 and 7. Remember, we're going to follow the same order of operations we have. Pause here, unpause, and we'll check our work. Awesome. So we know we got to do what is in the parentheses first. You're now checking your work against mine. In the parentheses, we have 9 squared minus 4. We must first do our 9 squared. I'm just checking to see what color I had exponents in. It was purple back then. Got a lot of different color, a lot of different steps. 9 squared is 81. We rewrite the entire rest of our problem. So we still have 2 plus. We have not done everything in the parentheses yet. Wrong way. So we still need our parentheses. 2 plus 81 minus 4. We're still working on what's in the parentheses. So we're now going to do 81 minus 4. And 81 minus 4 is absolutely, I hope, 77. Is there anything else left in our parentheses? No, there's not. So our parentheses can now disappear. And we have 2 plus 77. Well, when we do 2 plus 77, we do indeed get 79. Awesome. And then this next one, there are 2 sets of parentheses. We've got to start with the ones in the middle first and then work our way out. So we are going to do 3 plus 4 first. And 3 plus 4 is 7. We are absolutely going to rewrite the entire rest of the equation or expression now. And as you hopefully remember, this dot means multiplication, so when we get to that, it'll be multiplication. If you don't remember, that's okay. We are going to do, remember, now it means multiplication. All right, now we're working just inside our parentheses, so this 2 times doesn't matter right now. We've got to ask ourselves, do we do addition, subtraction, or division first? We remember that multiplication and division are more powerful than addition and subtraction, so we do our multiplication and division first. No multiplication in the parentheses. No, there's multiplication over here, but it's not in the parentheses. In the parentheses, we just have the division. So we are going to do 14 divided by 7. 14 divided by 7 is 2. Then we will rewrite the entire rest of our expression. Still need our parentheses because there's still a lot in there. 2 times 13 plus 5 minus 2. Okay. In our parentheses, so not worrying about this 2 times yet, we have 13 plus 5 minus 2. There's no exponents, no more multiplication division, so we're going to do our addition and subtraction left to right. 13 plus 5 is 18. 18 minus 2 is 16. Is there anything else in our parentheses? No, there's not. We'll rewrite the rest of our expression. 2 times 6, and 2 times 6 is 32. Oh, I was off the paper there. I'm so sorry. We could not see that. So we did our division in the parentheses first. Then we did our addition and subtraction in the parentheses. At that point, there was nothing else in the parentheses, so that got rid of them. And then we had 2 times 16 was 32. Now is the last example for us to go over together. It is example 4. Okay, so I know this is tricky. We've got exponents, we've got multiplication, addition, and parentheses. But first, because the parentheses are a clue to what happens first. It draws your attention and says, hey, here's what we do first. We're not going to look at that 2 times first. So here we have addition and an exponent. Which of those are we going to do first? Because the question says, which will we evaluate first within the parentheses? So we're going to look at this together. It has a parentheses, and inside the parentheses, there's an exponent. This is just like we saw back in exercise 6. So the first thing we are going to do is the exponent. So our sentence will say, first, evaluate 4 squared. What is 4 squared? 4 to the second power. 4 times 4 is 16. I'm just going to put that off to the side here. So then we are just going to go ahead and solve the rest of the expression. So here we had 2 times 3 plus 4 squared. Again, the parentheses are super important. We just did 4 squared, and we said 4 squared was 16. I am clearly off the paper there, off the screen. So we had 2 times 3 plus 4 squared in parentheses. We already know that 4 squared is 16 based on what we said right there. I'll zoom out a smidge there. We will rewrite the rest of our expression. 2 times 3 plus 16. There are still things in our parentheses. So we do 3 plus 16 first. That is 19. Nothing else in our parentheses. So our parentheses go away. And we have 2 times 19. 2 times 19 is 38. So our answer is 38. So what do we think would happen? Sorry, I got really close there. What do we think would happen? So this time the exponent was inside the parentheses next to the 4. What do you think would happen if the exponent was on the outside of the expression? We're going to turn over to page 23. And I want you to think about that. Specifically, do you think the answer will be the same? We've moved where the exponent is. Do we think our answer will be the same? I want you to write yes or no there right now. You got 10 seconds, right? Yes or no. Do you think our answer will be the same when we have moved our exponent? Okay, you've got your answer. You're locked in. Good to go. Awesome. I'm not going to put anything there because I know the answer. I want to see what you put. I want to see what you said. And again, you're not going to be, it does not matter if you got it right or wrong. We're trying to think about this. So don't change it once we go through the rest of this. So now we're going to say, what should we evaluate first? Well, this time we've got to do what's in the parentheses, right? Absolutely. So we have to do what's in the parentheses. So we are going to do 2 times 3 plus 4 squared. We have to do what's in, oh, we're off the paper there. 2 times 3 plus 4 squared. We have to do what's in the parentheses first, so that's 3 plus 4. The 2 is no longer in the parentheses. It's out here, parentheses. 2 is out here. Squared, second power, out here. Not in here, out here. So we've got to do what's in the parentheses first. 3 plus 4. 3 plus 4 is 7. So we now have 2 times 7 squared. So what happens here differently than our last example? Well, this time, because the 2 was outside of the parentheses, it was not inside it anymore, the 4 was not raised to the second power. So we're going to write that down. The 4 was not raised. That means we did not square it. We did not multiply it by itself. Because it did not have an exponent. So we had to do what was in the parentheses. The exponent was outside of the parentheses. So what should our next step be? Well, we did our parentheses. Now we know our exponent is next because that is the next most powerful thing. So now we have to do 7 squared. And 7 squared is 7 times 7. And 7 times 7 is 49. So off to the side here, if we rewrite our equation our expression here. We're now left, we'll just do it down here under evaluate to find our answer. We now have 2 times 49, and 2 times 49 is 98. So what do we notice about our answers? Absolutely. The final answers were not the same. The final answers were not the same. I'm going to pose 2 questions for you and then end our video here. Once you've answered these 2 questions, please complete exercises 8 and 9, and then we're ready to move on to the rest of our agenda. Just as we touch base, the next thing to do are complete the Lesson 6 problem set. It is right here. There are 5 questions. And then also do your math facts, complete 1 I already lesson, and then your host teacher will give you your homework at the end of the day. So answer the 2 questions I give you, do exercises 8 and 9, then move on to the rest of our agenda. So the 2 questions I'm going to pose to you that I would like you to write your response to on page 24 at the top. It says, what was different between the 2 expressions? So we had 2 expressions that all had the same numbers, the same exponents. The parentheses were just different. So what was different about those? And what can you determine? What conclusions, what thoughts do you have about evaluating or solving expressions with parentheses and exponents? So just share 2 thoughts. So I'm going to let you off on your own to answer these 2 questions. Do not write down share 2 thoughts, actually share your 2 thoughts. And then complete exercises 8 and 9 on the bottom of this page, and then move on with the rest of our agenda. I hope y'all have an awesome day. Again, as always, if you have questions, ask your neighbor, ask your host teacher, ask me. Have an awesome day, Trojans. Keep up the awesome work. Bye, y'all.